Thank you. So, I had an amazing childhood. I was born and raised in Brookline with my father, Ed, who is a computer scientist, physicist, and business person, and my mother, Joyce, who worked with him. And part of their business, it took them all over the world, and I was lucky enough to get to travel with them, and we had countless adventures. But I had a problem. Whenever I'd come back to Brookline, I would be in school. And I was a failing student. I was a failing student from the first grade. And I didn't participate. I wouldn't turn in assignments. Even if I got a math test, I would get all the answers right, but since I didn't show the work, I'd still get a 0. And I even failed PE, amazingly enough. The instructor informed me that I had to wear shorts. And I don't know why, I don't remember, but for whatever reason, I was not wearing shorts at the time. And I wouldn't do it, and so I failed PE as well. And as you can imagine, this caused a lot of consternation in our house. My teachers, my parents, everyone regarded me as a smart kid, and the question was, why couldn't I perform in school? I remember my father told me, he said, "Rick, school is your one job, and you're failing at it." You know, I felt terrible, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it was very hard on me, and but you know, I do have to say, at home, I was in a house that was filled with love. But also, I was raised to be very independent. As you can already maybe guess, it's an unusual household. And my parents traveled a lot. And lots of times, I was by myself. So to give an example of this, when I was 13, I come home, and there's a note on the kitchen counter. And it says, "Gone to Florida, be back in 2 weeks." A little surprising, you know, and it's more shocking to others than it was to me, but, you know, even at that time, I could cook, I could clean, I could get myself wherever I needed to go, and so, you know, I felt fine with that. At the same times, at other times, it was a little less easy. When I was 5, you know, yeah, I couldn't do everything then, so, anyway, my mother's leaving on a business trip, and my father's returning from a business trip. And there's supposed to be a small amount of time in between those two events. So my mother left on the business trip, but my father's plane was delayed coming back from the business trip. And so I'm 5, and I realized that there's no one in the house. And I look, and I can't find anybody, and it's concerning, you know. Time goes on, concern turns into worry. So eventually, I move a chair so I can stand on and get to the telephone, and I call the operator. And, you know, I'm beginning a nice conversation about my predicament, and luckily, my father comes in at that time, and, you know, sort of life went on, but very, very independent. So, you know, I'm back, you know, back to my school career. I'm, you know, sort of tragically failing forward through the grades. And when I turn 13, I tell my father my intention is to leave school permanently. And he says, "Rick, you can't leave school till you're 16. It's illegal. You'd be a truant." You know, interesting. I think in some way, he probably knew I sort of thought, challenge accepted. Now, what would give me such a crazy idea that this was even possible? Well, the summer beforehand, I was 12, and I had a job at a software company in Cambridge. And I was a programmer. Yeah, full time. Yeah, my official title was Demo Boy. I had a card to that effect. And, I worked all summer and made a demo in their software that first introduced networking into their product. So after that summer, and I have to say, I loved it. And, I would wake up early. My alarm clock was set for 5:30 in the morning. It was fantastic. And I had had a taste of life. So now I'm faced with the prospect of ninth grade at Brookline High. And I was desperate. I was desperate not to do it. And I had done some research. And what I was looking for was not unlike the situation that a child actor might have. And so I went to, the school administrators and proposed a deal. And the deal was that I would work full-time. I would, I would pass in my timesheets, and I would do something else to fulfill educational requirements. And so I took night classes at Newberry College, and it took about 2 months, but I got the deal. And very strangely, I don't remember having any pushback from the school. There was no pushback from my parents, but that was it. I was signed out of school, and it turned out that was the last year of traditional schooling that I ever had. Now, yeah, you might ask, hearing this, so I'm 13, and I went back to the same software company to work. You might ask about child labor laws. Yep, this was a thing, but in our American system, I found out that a corporation is actually a person. And even as a minor, I can be every officer of the corporation. The corporation can have a bank account, and I can sign on the corporation's behalf. So when I was 13, I started Codex Computer Corporation, and that was the start of my professional career. So soon after, I have real jobs. I'm 14, 15, responsible for the hardware on Nike's first public email servers. And, I'm taking a business trip. I'm flying to Orlando. I'm teaching a corporate class on Java programming to Pfizer middle management at the Disney Institute. And I get there, I set up. It's, a classroom. Everyone's 2 to 3 times my age. Some of them happen to be MIT graduates, which I thought was cool that I get to teach them. And, I went around, led them through the exercises, fixed their problems, just generally helped them, and they thought it was fantastic. I mean, this was a Doogie Howser type thing for them. And, I was having the time of my life as well. And I have to say, this actually paid pretty well, too. So the Pfizer job, I was paid $10,000 for the weekend. And it was a great perk. I was very excited. I got a free week at Disney World. And so, things just went from there. I've continued my career, worked for some of the largest companies in Massachusetts and, internationally. And of course, what's life without irony? Because now I have a company and we get technology into, of all places, education. So, at this point, I'm still in Brookline right here, and I have kids of my own, and they're 14 and 12. In fact, my son's about to go into Brookline High. And, I can't, with my perspective now, I can't imagine him taking the same path. In fact, when people ask me about it, I don't recommend it. And to really put it plainly, I would say, don't try this at home. Now, at the same time, I have a real appreciation and gratitude for my parents. They weren't easy parents, and I certainly wasn't an easy child. But at the same time, they had the trust and always supported me while I was finding this path. And the thing is that, this is, I think, what anyone wants for their children, is for them to be happy and find their place and purpose in this world. So anyway, I thank my parents for giving me this path. I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I can't wait to see what my kids do. Thank you.